Today is February 15th, 2025. And this is Hucula Saturday webinars. And February 15th, 2025. And this is Hucula Saturday webinars. And great. So we are live. And for those who want to join, I will switch and show you the. Oh, actually, we have a guest. Okay, Shakti is joining. Hey, Shakti. All right, so I will finish. Shakti, you can turn on the microphone. Great, thank you for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Yay, we have in audience, we have Shakti Howeth and Erin. And Erin is actually in San Diego, so we are local. And we are just starting, and I will show the join link. If somebody wants to join and participate, that would be great. To do that, I have now technology, so that's a join link. If you go to maxrempel.com, and in the first line there will be a Zoom link, and you just enter Zoom, and you'll be here speaking with us. Okay, and that's about it. So now I need to switch back to my normal look. Right. So let's gauge your perception, where we are historically, where the civilization is moving, and what's your personal take on it. I'll start with Shakti.
Right now, just go in, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's start from the most interesting stuff. What happened with you and last period of time, whichever you like.
Okay. Well, I do feel like there's a lot going on right now. So it's like a very big question, and a couple of the things that have come into my awareness recently have to do with more and more people starting to recognize that all of this anomalous phenomena is coming to the surface, and it's starting to be a part of more different individuals' experiences. And I'm seeing it in all these different sectors of reality, So it's like there's always been a presence of a spiritual community throughout time, no matter where you are, and people who are interested in anomalous things or occult things. But we're seeing it spread beyond that into mainstream culture, into scientific realms, into more of the kind of typical way of the Western mind. People that wouldn't normally be interested in these things are starting to like come online and come awake with this stuff. And obviously, because we have the internet, we are able to see this happening in real time, which is really exciting. But it's a weird mixed sensation of like, everything's happening, big changes are coming, which we've been hearing since like 2012. And in a way, it's all true. And in another way, the status quo is so strong, it seems to be maintaining on a certain level of reality that it seems impenetrable. So, what I'm really interested right now in is there going to be a tipping point? Is all of this momentum building in a way that we're going to continue to see a change that can actually spread across all of reality and help us to transform society and the way we function on this planet? Because I think that's the big work ahead of us, is like making things better on Earth for all people. Or is it going to be this same thing that we've always seen, where it only seems to touch certain individuals and a vast majority of people will continue to stay in that kind of stasis mode?
Wow, yeah. I second that. That's I guess the key paradigm. It's awakening, right? People have a choice, free will. Do they want to awaken, or do they want to remain sleeping? And how much do they want to awaken? It's everyday process. How much the humanity wants to become aware of their spiritual nature.
And also, is there really, you know, a force or a group or, a kind of energy working against that progress? Or is there something blocking? Is there something in opposition to that growth is what I'm constantly wondering, you know?
Um, of course there is. I mean, there is no question. So, I mean,
Yeah.
are you still doubting that there is
I'm not
a
doubting that
dark
it's
side?
there. I'm just wondering why. Why and what is that, and how does that operate? Is it just natural, like, the balance of nature, yin and yang? Like, is it just these polar opposites always at play with each other, and that's the energy and the generative energy that creates all life? Is that necessary?
Absolutely
Is it
yes.
part of it?
Absolutely yes. I mean, you can't have a physical world without the opposition.
Yeah.
And the question is where you are in this game. Do you want to play the game on lower levels? Are you ready to rise to the game on higher levels? But you will be playing the game of opposites. It's for sure. But it's a personal choice. If you evolve, you switch to the timeline when it's a higher level games.
I'm interested in that.
Exactly, yeah.
Definitely.
And if you see something completely ugly, that means that there is something in you which attracted you to that timeline.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Yeah.
It's all about inner work. Why did you end up in that nonsense?
Mm. Mhm.
What holds me in this? Oh yeah, we have one more guest. Yay! All right. So Erin, is your turn. It is your turn. So where you are personally and where the whole reality is moving, what's happening? What's your take on that?
Where I am personally, still agnostic, still confused, and where reality is going, um, just thinking about it, probably pretty quickly go into some form of post-scarcity civilization. And then, in my experience, I find that um, the universe loves irony, so probably some
Yes, yes, uh-huh.
disaster right after that.
Right, 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 right,
And then,
right.
yeah, I could definitely think there are forces, negative, malevolent, whatever you want to call them, the demiurge or whatever
Yes,
form it takes. Sure, there's something that doesn't want that to happen, or I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I can believe that. Mm.
super cool. So you said post scarcity?
Yeah, like a level type 2 civilization. I forget. But yeah, post scarcity civilization.
Describe it a bit more I'm not very familiar with that term.
It's like a science fiction term, I think, but it's just a golden age for humanity. Like we don't.
Oh, you mean like real abundance?
Yeah,
Star
like
Trek
basic
future.
basic necessities aren't, like food and all that stuff is taken care of, all the basics, like a post scarcity. Um, so society would shift to like it'd be less fear based because everyone would have the necessities.
Right,
That's where I think we're headed, relatively quickly. But again, I don't personally think. I mean, there's a possibility we might not stay there for long. I personally think
right.
that.
Um, Again, I mean, I will contradict what I just said. I said that everyone shifts in a branch of reality which corresponds to their vibration. But I don't see that coming. I don't see abundance in complete on the globe. I don't see that. There will be islands, and there are islands of abundance. I mean, we can see people like right here among us, like in San Diego in California. There is people who have a lot of material resources and money for sure. Like every other building costs millions of dollars, so it's huge. But among them, there are people who don't have anything, don't have a lot, and homeless too. So I think the principle of the planet, the rule on the planet is that it's it diversifies a lot. And we're just coming out of Kali Yuga. I don't think we even came out. It's just kind of, we are just past tipping point. So I think to get to abundance, I don't think it happens that fast. I think it goes through ups and downs, and I'm seeing more like downs rather than ups. Let me see. Devante Cartwright, are you willing to speak up, or do you want just to be a listener? And your camera is off, I think. We have a guest, but I think we have a silent guest. But you're welcome to unmute and turn on the camera if you like. So now my take. My take is that last 3 weeks since inauguration is demonstrating a huge shift, and I think it's much bigger than it seems. I was expecting it for a long time. I was seeing the signs of the crisis in the world crisis and American crisis. I was seeing it since I came here, 93. So it's lots of years, 30 something years. But last 10 years, it was obvious that the crisis is coming, and I lived through the crisis of the Soviet Union, and it's fall apart. Like, it started from disclosure, and it's called glassness, but essentially it's disclosure. It's opening the secrets. Conspiracies come out, and then it came into reforms, and then it came to a lot of changes, which ended up with what we have now. And we had about 10 years of complete freedom. And this freedom was weird. It's like you think that you are free to say anything, but in fact, nobody would listen. And it's like now on the internet. You're free to say anything on YouTube, but you get very few viewers. So the truth is coming out, but the strong concentration of powers becomes diffused. Now nobody has a power, or at least lots of previous powers don't. So Alex Truman, they don't hold anymore. The institutions are there, but they stopped being as powerful as they were before. So there is a lot of freedom, but a lot of impotence. Yeah, that was the feeling in Russia.
Max, when was that timeline? When was that 10 years?
Yeah, it started with 85.
Okay.
I think Chernobyl was 85, and then about 95, 96 I left. But that was a time when it's very much like Watergate, when secrets come out, you feel a lot of freedom, but then some dark forces just grab the power. For some reason, dark forces are much faster in grabbing the power, and white glove people, they just they just are surprised and don't know what to do. So that doesn't mean that will reproduce here, because it's a very different background. Russia is sitting on one set of energies, and America is sitting on very different set of energies. But now it's global. It's not America itself. It's global. The secrets come out globally.
Have you heard about this declassification of secrets new task force in the Congress?
Exactly. Once I hear that, I remember my favorite. I should type it on the screen. Today I'm prepared to type things on the screen. So actually I'm not prepared, but I will type them anyway. So it's called can you see it? Yes, Minister.
Yeah.
Minister. Yes, Prime Minister. Oh yeah, that's cool. So that is how do you call it? A textbook of bureaucracy. And what we see now in politics is exactly the first two episodes of Yes, Minister. It's a British TV series favored by the Queen, and it shows huge knowledge of inside works of bureaucracy. And surprisingly, it was although it's made in Britain, it portrays American bureaucracy. It's the set is in Britain, but Bureaucracy is American. And they explain how it works, and they explain why all the reforms end up just reversed. So I think we are seeing that. But the main thing you can hear that is that you can't have disclosure and government at the same time. It's either governance or disclosure, because governance is based on the secrets. If you disclose secrets, you lose power, you become impotent. So that's basically suicidal activity of the government, what we have now. But obviously we want truth, but are we ready to face impotence? I don't know. So Erin mentioned Demiurge, and Demiurge is huge. So essentially the story of Demiurge is connected to Gnostics and is connected to possibly Jesus and the times of Jesus. And the main teaching is, and I think it's called Dead Sea Scrolls. I'm a bit vague there. I listened a lot about them, but now it's like mixed in my mind. I'm more interested in the conclusion. They say that the whole world is created by the dark force, and it makes sense. It makes sense that to create something, you have to disconnect from the totality, and then you become a creator. You cannot create when you are the totality. Okay, so I can switch back to my screen, and I don't know. Oh, that's how it works. Okay, so and I should switch back to the thing. Let me show then the other thing. I don't know if is it a bit. I was criticized that my speaking is a bit slow, so I introduced that screen with typing, but maybe I'm not sure. Anyway, so
It sounds good to me.
The next one is Good Omens. Good Omens. Yes, Prime Minister is also available as audio on Audible, and Good Omens is also available as a book and also as a wonderful movie. It's actually now, I think it's a series, so it's a series. And I think Good Omens are a great illustration of what we actually living through right now. There is a fight between good and evil, and as you can see, they're in love with each other. Good and evil, the angels and demons are in love with each other. And while we are here, they are fighting somewhere here and elsewhere. And there is all these trials like famine and war and hunger and stuff like that, and aliens and underground Tibetan cities and Tibetan monks that can go through the ground. It's all very literate in terms of metaphysics and paranormal and psychic, and there is another word, occult. It's very literate in occult and channeling. So I think we should talk lots more about channeling and telepathy. So Good Omens, I think, is a very good play with the same. It's a comedy. Yes, Minister and Good Omens are both comedies and very talented ones. So that's what I wanted to say. It's we are so you can see that in Good Omens the demons are much more grounded in this planet, while the angels are sort of guests and visited without much knowledge. So that's, I guess, what I wanted to say. The main message there is that we humans don't have to choose. We can be right in the middle ourselves, playing the third game. And because we are hybrids between good and evil, and we can't really extinguish one or another, we have both of them inside. So our choice, there is a third choice, essentially. I'm not, as Erin said, I'm as confused as everybody else. I can't predict what will happen, but what is happening here is telepathy came out, the UFO disclosure, UAP disclosure comes out, all the secrets come out, reality of psychic things comes out. So now you have everything, and everybody is choosing.
Oh, you went on mute.
I'm back.
You're back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah, I was my electricity just, but then I were overloaded. So the idea is that what's the idea?
We're talking about all the different psi phenomena that's coming out into the open, the telepathy, the psychic abilities,
Yeah, there is a lot of choice. Let me finish with one more message, and then I'll invite you to speak. Gurdjieff, I need to type it. Oh, that's great. I can type things. Gurdjieff. If you are not familiar, Ouspensky. Oh, Ouspensky. Okay. Yeah, like that. Check it out. Ramdas reference them frequently. So Gurdjieff was a person in early 20th century. I think he died early, like before the 1940, or maybe during the war. So during the Russian Revolution, he had a theater, like absurdity theater. And his principle was to use yogi's practices and go right in the middle of the fight, right there where between the front lines, they would dance there, entertain people, and be right in the center. I still suspect that he was paid by the West to spy on both sides and be like a messenger to both sides. But in any way, even if you are that, be like going in the middle of the war and be invincible is a talent. And he said that if you're tuned to the right state, you will be invincible. And he was invincible. Well, while everybody was running scared and obsessed with things, with confusion. Actually, most of the people were confused, but few people knew what's happening. We are listening now to interviews of people who lived in the times of it's 1918, so that civil war in Russia was huge. They lost millions of people on both sides. It was Russia, Reds versus Whites, old army versus Bolshevik communist army. So right in the middle of that fight and confusion and hunger, there was islands of prosperity, islands of peace. And he was right in the middle with his theater of 20 people, just traveling, entertaining, and having fun. So that is a lesson for me that now when things possibly, I don't know if they will fall apart or the fall will be like slow or fast. It's hard to tell. It looks like it's going to be fast. So then there is that possibility to dance in the middle of the chaos and still be guided. Be guided and be successful in your own way. But you have to be tuned up and actually lose yourself. That's the lesson of, I'll type the name. Another favorite teacher, Neem, Karoli, Baba. It's Guru of Ramdas. Guru of Ramdas. I need smaller font. And the books to read is The Miracle Miracle of Love. It's unfortunately not available as audio. It's by Ramdas. Absolutely great. It's Ramdas is very smart. He discovered pretty much everything about modern understanding of metaphysics. And when he wrote this book, it's a textbook on how the world actually works. The miracles are possible and they are like near. So one as you read these stories, it illustrates that reality is not real. It's an illusion. So he explains how it plays, how it works. So the metaphysics is a textbook on metaphysics, but through the stories about miracles of Neem, Karoli, Baba, which are collections of real stories. I think I can give the microphone to Shakti and Erin, whoever wants to take it.
I can jump in. So something I've been thinking about, Max, is like, as you're speaking about what's coming next, the possible chaos, a lot of political unrest and big changes in reality that we're all about to be in, and this possibility that some people can sort of dance in the middle of that, these islands of abundance of whatever kind, just like peace or love, or still like these bubbles of reality. It's kind of like you said, your frequency will bring you to the different realities. And so it's like they're all happening at the same time. Somebody's frequency can be kind of a bubble in the middle of everything else that's going on, and they still can have awareness of each other. But one is sort of untouched by the other. I think that's really interesting because I've been wondering a lot lately about the notion of like an individual soul purpose or a collective soul purpose in the midst of everything that's happening on a larger scale, and how to get in touch with a sense of what is my role in this current time in reality? What can I do? And where should I prioritize my energy? And it's an interesting challenge for a lot of people to identify that when living in the current capitalist culture. I mean, to Erin's point about this future where everyone's needs are taken care of, when your needs are not taken care of, you have a very limited amount of time to be able to do spiritual work, maybe, or to be able to get in touch with those other life purpose pathways. It would be a delight to just flow intuitively through reality, meeting different people, going on different adventures, learning, helping, finding yourself in all these interesting places and just like building. But we're tethered to these jobs, these 9 to 5s, this need to survive. And for a lot of us who just didn't come from money, there seems to be no escape from that. You can only go so many days without food and water or shelter or anything else. So I think your idea of this bubble or this island is really interesting, because I think we're all going to have to figure out, like we have been doing, what are my opportunities within this chaos, within this, like some people call prison planet or whatever. You brought up the Gnostics and this idea of like this place being created by darker forces, or maybe we're kind of stuck in a system that is rigged against us. Some people would call it like a setup, and others say, oh, it's all for just learning and growth, but it feels really difficult. And so in terms of just like leveling up through these difficult levels of this game, I feel like we constantly need to reground into a sense of purpose and a sense of individually or collectively, like, what am I doing here? What am I supposed to be doing? And so I think that, meditation is the main direct tool for that. But how do you tap into that knowing every single day when you're also like concerned with just survival or, work or whatever else, and really how can you really create that bubble? So, I mean, that's kind of a question to us all, but also something that I'm constantly working on for myself. And then I think the other part, which was in the title of one of those books you listed, is the love factor. And you brought this up last time we talked, Max, when we brought up telepathy. You were saying how one of the greatest feelings of your life was like falling in love with this current partner, and like the energy and, these heightened abilities. And you felt, maybe my interpretation of what you said is that your powers were more coming online in that moment of love. And that's like a very special place to be. And I also feel like part of this story that we're all living through is this war of like good and evil or whatever is going on. There also seems to be a lot of opposition to love. Like we're not allowed, you know, the forces that are trying to control are really blocking people's ability to actually experience real love, whether platonic or romantic or anything else, because that is a pathway to power, to real power. And if we all had individual real power, we could bypass every system. We could access any secret, any information that we want directly. We could heal directly. We could, you know, we could just operate more effectively in reality. But we're constantly struggling just to survive. So it's like we're really, it kind of feels like we're all just getting pushed our head underwater over and over and over again. And we're still just trying to get up and get those little breaths. And we're still here, but it's hard to make progress, it feels like. So I don't know. What are y'all thoughts on that?
Erin, do you want to speak?
Yeah, certainly. First I would say the thing about all the chaos in the world, I guess that can worry me a bit because it's a bipolar world and everything swing, there's an opposite and equal reaction and whatnot. And I would have to say that if there's so much chaos, eventually someone will bring order out of the chaos, and that might unfortunately infringe on some liberties. What else do I have to say? What Shakti said. I don't know, like knowing, like connecting to something where you can know all the secrets and just know what's going on. I feel like to a point that would be okay, but if you knew everything, what would be the point of human curiosity? Like I wouldn't want to know everything. I would still want to wonder about things and ponder about things for sure, but definitely want to know more about what's going on in reality. Um, yeah, that's my 2 cents.
Right. Yeah. Good points. Yeah. I feel like learning about what's actually happening, just watching the news or reading about the news or finding out about the news is tough on the body. So I learned to filter a lot. But sometimes it is so essential to actually be there and be a witness of what's happening. Maybe it's our main purpose to be a witness instead of doers. Just witnessing is might be enough. And how much can you actually, how much energy can you can go through your body? Because the intensity of the energies is so high that just connecting to the changes is painful. So much of the day I'm in spiritual pain, spirit pain, which goes back into physical pain just by connecting to the transformations. And I'm sort of used to that. I learned the ways to cope with it and kind of release it. But is it? Am I supposed to be like watching all of that, or should I disconnect? So it's always a game between disconnection and reconnection to actual events. But for me, it's super interesting to see where civilization is going. I wrote a book actually a long time ago. It's 2013, so it's 12 years ago, about that period of time when the disclosure is happening. I wrote it in parallel with, I guess I type again. His name is Richard Dolan.
I love Richard Dolan.
Do I love Richard?
Met him twice.
I follow him, and I was with him. Where am I? I'm lost. Okay, here. I was with him, Richard Dolan. The book is The Day After Disclosure. There is a second author. I'm blanking on the name, but there are two authors. So they thought that in that book that things will fall apart very fast. So now when we have this task force announced, I think maybe on Thursday or around Thursday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. So So the disclosure will happen maybe faster than it was. Very likely it will happen very fast. What Michael Bentz spoke yesterday about was huge. It was like huge disclosure on, I'll type it. Michael Bentz, Mike Bentz. But it's hard to listen to him. My angels just disconnected my internet after a while. I mean, I trust them. When they disconnect my internet, it's certainly a sign that I'm going too far and too dark. So, and it's on Joe Rogan show, on Joe Rogan. Is it how you spell it? And it was yesterday 2/14, 2025. So there is huge disclosure there. It's not about aliens or telepathy, but it's coming very close to that. You can see how Musk is actually going after the alien technologies, which are pretty kept secret by contractors. So it looks like he just uses government to get into that. It's a wild theory, but interesting. Maybe it's true. I'm not sure, but it's one of the things that sound there. And the second one is just Musk and Trump do it because they are physically threatened. They need to. They fight for life essentially. They both had assassination attempts, and they basically fight for life with a big thing. Somebody lifted a hand.
Just gonna say you spelled Rogan wrong.
Oh, how do you spell it?
Believe there's no A in front of the O.
Oh, good. Thanks. All right. So coming back to I guess I will jump to telepathy. I mean, that branch is huge, but I mean, it's all an illusion anyway. But it's a collective illusion, and like humanity collectively dreams nightmares, but that is balanced by telepathy and alien disclosures. So the two huge events happened is the new episode. Unfortunately, I don't know, but it came out on Sunday, so it's animal telepathy. Telepathy on the Telepathy Tapes podcast. So that's huge. Essentially, what happens is not only autistic people are nonverbal autistic people are telepathic. That pretty much all animals and most likely all plants are telepathic. They talk to each other, and only we are deaf. That is so huge. It's not like that, there are few talented people. Like right now, it looks like the statistic is maybe 1 out of 100 people is telepathic, something like that. Not a lot, but not little. Like between 1 in 100 to 1 in 300, something like that, around us. And this number doubles. Until now, it was doubling every 8 years, but maybe now it will go faster. We'll see. And what is most likely that the new children will be both telepathic and physical. Like right now, the autistic telepaths, they are physically disconnected. They can't control their bodies, so they are more like have way control of the bodies. The bodies live with some sort of other driving personality. Something is driving the souls of autistic telepaths. And driving the bodies. Something is driving the bodies, but they sort of gradually gain the control of the body with the help of assistance. But hopefully the new version of the humans will be able to be in the body and be telepathic at the same time. So now it looks like, did you hear the new episode?
Mm-hmm.
Yay! So the dogs and horses, they're telepathic. They talk to each other, talk to talented channelers, human telepaths, and their minds are not that sophisticated as humans are, but they can know stuff and they can think and they can talk. So that's super interesting. And from the past, I know the experiments that plants are telepathic. Maybe their mind is very different, but at least they can remotely talk to each other. That's for sure. So now I'm starting the experiment. It's super interesting. I will draw it, I guess, if I can. Yeah. So cool. Yep. So I'm thinking that maybe how do I do this? It doesn't work. Please. It crashed. Okay. So there are
Oh, nice.
I bought shrimp eggs. It's called brine shrimp. Really little 10 millimeter size shrimp, and you put them in salt water. They multiply like crazy. And the idea is that the water becomes entangled. So if you take a part of the water, put it in a different container, and do something nasty to it, like heat it up, cool it down, add some lemon juice or something like that, or salt, then they will telepathically communicate this water with that. If it was the same water, they kind of, for a while, they keep the entangled state. Entangled means they are connected like twins. So I will keep the shrimp here, and I will heat up this water, and I will videotape. And the experiment is if the shrimp will feel the heat on the other one. I'm trying to find some something moving, some sort of moving life form which I can torture this way. It's still sort of a torture, but I think I can tolerate, for science, I can tolerate that shrimp will feel uncomfortable. I will not boil them. I will boil just the water. I think boiling the water is pretty traditional, so it's not a big crime. But if that is true, and if that's reproducible, that is a discovery which is called quantum entanglement, biological quantum entanglement, which I call biological quantum entanglement. So we're all bound together, and apparently we live among the telepathically connected biosphere, and we are the only ones deaf, not hearing the telepathy.
So I have a thought about this, Max,
Uh,
because I was listening to, have you seen the podcaster Jesse Michels on American Alchemy?
no, how do I type it? Let me type it. So what
Um,
was it? American Alchemy?
yeah, it's a YouTube, and the name is Jesse, Jesse. The last name is
Just like that?
Jesse, no I, and then Michels. ELS. No, no, no A.
I'm really bad in spelling. I wasn't in school. We didn't spell in English, so it's very hard for
Yeah.
me.
Well, everyone can figure it out anyway, close enough, but the internet will take you where you need to go. But this content is really good. He does a lot of different things about disclosure, and he interviewed Ky Dickens
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, just recently. And also Diana Hennessy Powell, is that the doctor's name that she was working
Yes, Diana Hennessy Powell. Yep.
with? So they're on this episode, so I was watching that recently, and um let's see, why was I tying this into the entangled pairs? So I think something that they were discussing was, how do these connections work? Everybody who's very analytical and has a scientific mind wants to understand the rule set of this reality and how these psi phenomena are able to occur within our physical matter reality. And I think that we will make progress. But what's interesting to me is that I think what we've learned from spiritual teachers like gurus all throughout time and others who have come to these really deep understandings, like all on their own through direct knowledge, they've been able to bypass a lot of traditional systems in order to access information directly. And so when you're talking about these entangled pairs, which I've heard a lot of different examples of this throughout time, what I always end up thinking is like, we're all entangled in this reality. Like, we are all an entangled group together. When you said my body is hurting because of all that's going on in reality, I was really relating to that because I've been feeling so much more physical stress in my body over the last couple of years and just constantly dealing with huge amounts of, I guess, just the energy and awareness of everything that's going on. But okay, here's what it really was. So you said that we are the only species here that's not a part of this like telepathic reality, like kind of what's wrong with us. And that's what I was thinking about when I was listening to this Jesse Michaels interview, because I was reminded of how these non-verbal autistic people are so limited in the physical sense, but they're so advanced in the consciousness area. And what it took to bring everything together and allow them to break free was actually the assistance of other humans who are a part of this other level of communication in reality. So we are like the dominant communication type. And they talk about times in the past when Braille was being invented and how the people that were going through the process of trying to bring Braille into schools were facing the same challenges that the spellers are facing currently in terms of just let them do things differently. They need to be allowed to do things differently. And for some reason, the larger group of like normal communication is against that or fights against it or resists it for some reason. And I was thinking about if we, the humans that are part of this normal level of communication on the physical level, but we feel kind of disabled on the spiritual level because for some reason we're not functioning in that same way. What if there's another group or entity or something that can come in and be that intermediary for us? You know, we think of ourselves as this top of the food chain, which is such a huge mistake all the time. We think we're the smartest, you know, we're the normal, able-bodied humans, and we have all the knowledge of science and everything else. But you're pointing out, and I'm also noticing that we are somewhat disabled on these psychic levels, and we need help. So I wonder if similar to those who have helped the nonverbal people to learn how to spell and communicate, maybe there's something that needs to happen between realms with the non-physical helpers and us who are stuck on this physical level of reality and aren't able to access our own telepathic abilities. Maybe we just need help in that same way that they received help. And because I think everything that's going on in reality is pushing us all towards more cooperation and collaboration. I really think that that's kind of the path forward. And yes, we're always going to be in this struggle, and it's not like everything's going to be perfect all of a sudden, but we're still here. We're still doing something. And maybe a piece of what we're supposed to be doing is actually not only just seeking out ways of like helping each other, but also maybe we need to receive some assistance. You know what I mean? To be able to access that level.
Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah, I resonated. Shakti, some stuff you said. Definitely. I think if we had some education on these extrasensory perceptions that some people manifest from an early age, maybe things would be different. But Western reductionism is just ingrained in Western society. So if you even bring it up, you're a lunatic. So that's kind of lame. I had a question for you, Doc. I was curious, this uptick in this phenomenon and these abilities, do you think there is a possibility that it might be induced and not a natural evolution of humans?
You said Doc, you mean Max Doc?
Yeah, yeah, Max. I'm asking you. Yeah, I asked you.
Right, yeah. So let me repeat your question. You're saying that somebody artificially induces telepathic abilities in the whole of humanity?
Not necessarily the whole of humanity, but maybe speed along the process of some people. And
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just saying maybe like for 100 years, the uptick in, well, like a lot of diseases, but it's, the spectrum disorders, the mental illnesses like bipolar or schizoaffective have increased exponentially the last many years. I'll just be curious to know if that's just a happenstance or maybe someone's trying to induce some stuff, you know?
Right. Yeah. That's the topic which is discussed. The language is not well standardized, but the story, my understanding, I will show my understanding, but it's been discussed by many. So essentially, there is a manipulation of reality by many outside forces and inside forces. So the inside forces, the evil ones, the how they say, not exactly evil, they're more like selfish ones. Yeah, they are in the law of one. Okay, I need to keep typing. There is a lot of resources. The law of one. You're familiar, right? The law of one. It's a channeled book, and it says that there are selfish individuals and there are other serving to others. The others that serve to self, they have benefit, and humanity is pretty much lots of selfish individuals which disconnected from biosphere, and they have dominate physical world, but dominated, but the spiritual progress is pretty much limited, and it's much easier to progress to the next level to become telepathic if you're not selfish. Yet if you're selfish, you have a chance to become telepathic and stay on the dark side essentially. But the ratio is like 50-1, that unselfish ones become telepathic easily, like the autistic telepaths. They're more like animals, very light, very uncontrolling, and very unselfish. And but there are selfish guys who also become telepaths, and they are more like on the dark side, more like how do I say, mystical dark workers, which is special kind of dark workers. They have a contract. They give away their free will in exchange for powers. And now, when we are looking for ways to become telepathic, our autistic telepathic friends blame us, saying that our main motivation is to get more power, and that we are on the dark side. We are, instead of way of love and losing ourselves, we are doing we are wanting to buy that ability to get more power, and that's, from their perspective, is not very good. So they are not very eager to teach everyone. So if you make a choice to be love, then you're automatically get the special powers, but you lose the ability to be selfish. And so that's the main thing. And in terms of manipulation, so the internal guys are doing everything to slow down the natural progress. So they do special testing in schools, and when they discover talented telepaths, they isolate them, train them, and brainwash them. And if they can't really convert them, they medicate them so they lose their telepathic ability. They use psychiatric treatment to do that, and chemistry. So there is a database of talented individuals. But on the other way, the military hunt for talented they call them psychic psionics.
Psionics.
Is it right? Psionics. Yep. Yeah, it's a new word that came out like last couple of months. It's a new word. Essentially, these guys are capable of either manifesting or creating or bringing down the alien craft. And they've been trained, they've been treated very nicely. They put them in like, how do you call this? Containers, big containers for trucks.
Faraday cages.
Again?
I think they even use Faraday cages.
Yeah. And Faraday cage essentially is like metal container with copper in it. And they gently transport them to the right locations, give them a lot of support, a lot of resources, and then ask them to telepathically and psychically, psionically to bring down UFOs. So there is like some are repressed, some are exploited. On the other hand, from the alien side, the aliens, good ones and bad ones, they do hybridization. The bad ones are Zeta Greys and some of the reptilians, some of the Draconians, some of the Orions. They do Nordic, Pleiadian Nordics, they do hybridization. They embed their genetics, telepathic genetics into population. They do it for the whole human history, but recently it's more active. And they play with doing more or less telepathy, because if you overdo it, you create an autistic telepath which is not capable of functioning. So they do like, initially they did randomly, now they evolved, they have very good way of doing that through smarter genetics and also through implants, organic implants like living implants. So there is a lot of manipulation happening from the other side on that level, and the positive ones do the same. And the main reason is that our civilization is overdue for so-called ascension, and ascension is essentially ability to telepathically connect, and this telepathic connection unites the network and creates more unity, and this more unity brings us to the next dimensional level. So that is overdue. We are moving this way, and since the planet is divergent, diversified, diverse, it's probably will not jump as a whole unit, it will jump partially. The other planet where we are moving is called Terra, so it's some sort of a higher dimensional version of the planet. There is a small population of few thousand there, and sort of one of the stories goes that you know, will pop from this reality, disappear from here, and jump there in the physical bodies. But some people just reincarnate there, so it's very unclear what's actually how it will feel. Maybe for some it will feel like we remain here and we just awaken to our telepathy. I'm not sure. It's super weird. I don't see a good. I don't understand a good picture how it will happen. But that's a major message from everywhere, from channel messages, from in-person visitors to the aliens, from ancient texts, from personal telepathic and psychedelic trips. So the humanity is overdue for ascension, and we are ascending one way or another. There are multiple ways of ascension. So the conservative guys tries to slow us down, and the other guys, the positive forces, are moving, progressor forces, for spiritual progress. But on the way, we have a choice whether we do telepathy through Neuralink electronically, or do we do it like technologically, or do we do it naturally? And I guess it would be like a personal choice. Would you want to be connected to one of the telepathic networks, which is more like technological and to do connected to some more technological alien races and AI, or do you want to be with natural telepathic network, which is a biosphere of the planet? And most likely it will be something in between, like the humanity will gradually go in between and make choices. And the aliens are ready to participate, but for some reason, for the main reason here is it's essentially a virtual game where it's super important for humanity to do it itself without external visible help. So when you do it, go through that evolution yourself, it's much more interesting scenario. It's much more interesting for personal growth and for collective spiritual growth. So they are helping us to actually to do the choices: telepathy, spirituality, and which kind of association are we on the side of the angels? Are we on the side of the demons? Are we taking the third path? So that's where we are. So manipulations are tons, and like I'm taken very comfortably when they disconnect me from internet, or when they break technology, or when they give me pains. I sometimes I feel, oh, that pain means I need to stop whatever I'm doing and turn. And I'm not sure. Sometimes I feel like it's done by good guys, and sometimes it's done by bad guys. So you really need to see the signature, who is manipulating you. But there is so much manipulation from the other side. It just like again, there are choices. You are choosing. You're saying, "Hey guys, above, help me," but you have might be more specific in your requests. Angels, I'm asking help from angels. Demons, I'm not asking help from you, but demons are really ready to help as soon as you call them. So they're like first ones to jump. So being very specific, what do you want to open? I know you want to speak, but one more thing is that a choice is how much do you want to give up your powers, and how much do you want to actually go one path or another. And for me, it's I'm 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 wondering what's my what is my path. There is something clearly. There is some limitations on my path. Financially, I'm told, I was trying to discover that I'm told that my financial income is approved on scientific whatever work research. So whenever I try to get money from anywhere else, it's blocked. So there is like a life path. He's a scientist, and he's allowed to get money through that channel. So okay, I learned that lesson, but there is a lot of limitations just on your scenario of your game. So but the choice is right now is, do you want to be like autistic telepaths and become helpless but telepathic, or do you want telepathy and be in control of your body and of your fate? Or do you want to be in charge of your fate, or do you want to be completely guided? Like Neem Karoli Baba, who had his special powers, cities, knowing the future, manipulating reality, reading anybody's mind, while completely losing himself. Essentially, he was dancing the dance of the Hanuman, of servant of Rama. So essentially, when you become a vessel for higher forces, you lose yourself. So do you want to lose yourself and get the telepathic talents, or do you want to remain a player here and experience your own game?
Well said. I was just curious too. You're talking about a lot of neutral and possibly malevolent ETs. I'm wondering if the government, I'm sure they've known for quite a while, but if the inception of like Space Force, if maybe they think something is gonna pop off sooner than rather than later, and be ready for it for any contingency.
Well, you mentioned Richard Dolan earlier, and he has said on a few different occasions that there's a lot of evidence to suggest that our government and other groups are already collaborating with non-human intelligence. So that this idea that something's going to pop off, that they're all going to show up and all of a sudden maybe chaos will ensue, is less likely in my mind, because based on all of the accounts of people who have worked in these programs, and there's so many of them, there are reports of these beings in underground bases, walking around in uniform and different things like that. So, I also wanted to like share this book. I don't know, did I talk about this with you last time, Max? Have you seen this book, Above Black, Project
No, I don't
Preserve?
remember that.
It's called Above Black, Project Preserve Destiny. And the reason I'm pulling it out is because this is this guy, Dan Sherman, who worked for a government program where he was recruited into a precursor to the psionic programs. So before that word was around, you know, we've had all of this evidence of remote viewing since back in the 70s is when it was really blowing up. But it goes beyond just remote viewing. They've been training these people with psionic abilities. So, Aaron, when you brought up, like, are there ways to actually induce telepathic abilities? I believe that in this book, you can see some examples of one method that a government program used to induce psionic abilities or psychic abilities in this officer, but it included genetic manipulation, which is why it brought me back to Max's work, because what he discovered throughout the course of his experience in the program was that his mother was sort of tampered with during his pregnancy. So there was some
Oh, wait.
suggestion.
I don't think. Oh no, I didn't analyze myself yet. No, I discovered a couple families with that, but it wasn't my family. I'm still waiting
Right.
for the results, and I just didn't analyze them. I have the data, I just never got to. And even if I do, I probably wouldn't announce it. So it will be a secret, private, because I have a lot of relatives. I don't want to
Oh yeah,
publish that.
not with your own, but just the work you mentioned that you have been analyzing if you have two parents' DNA and you
Yeah,
can see the sequence and the sequence of a child and you can identify if there's
the
an
insertions. Yeah,
inclusion, an
yeah.
insertion. And so I think it's similar to what, some of these people in programs, in order to induce the telepathic abilities, three things were used in this book. One was the DNA insertion. Two was some kind of drug, which they never described what it was, that he would take when he went to do his training and his work to telepathically communicate with non-human intelligence. And the third was the use of technology. So I do believe that these are the three components that have been researched, and I do also believe that there are many experiments going on in order to also figure out the opposite. If people are naturally evolving abilities, how can we stop them? And I do believe that there are similar technologies at play when it comes to that opposite work, which is drugs, technology, and genetic manipulation.
So this is my Procyon. It's very cheap, used version on
Oh, light and sound machine.
light and sound machine on. Is it like better? Yeah,
Yeah.
Procyon. So it has glasses. Actually, I think I can turn it on. Let's see.
I'm familiar.
I've never seen this.
So it
It's
flashes in
pretty.
your eyes, and you close your eyes, so you get flashes. But once it kind of diffuses through your eyelids, it creates patterns. Just because it's asymmetrical flashing, it's three colors, but flashing like a do. So you get patterns, and that washes your brain. And I'm not sure what patterns are better, but there is science behind that, and there are programs, and maybe some programs are better. I get a little bit of special talents when I use that, but it's I don't know if it's, to me it's less, the effect is less than you get mushrooms, magic mushrooms. I think magic mushrooms are more natural, and but you have to actually meditate and do the inner work. Just mushrooms, I see a lot of people who do mushrooms, and they don't get what I get, because you need to like learn that spiritual muscle to get somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
and like really like wanting that, intending that, and develop that ability to get somewhere out of the body or in the body. Like I actually do it in the body, but through the body from inside, going somewhere, and sometimes outside, like I can float out of the body. Yeah. So um, technology. So I don't know. Maybe it was LSD. They don't say it, but I would doubt that the substance would be new. I think it would be one of the psychedelics. I'm not sure which one.
Ketamine, probably.
Ketamine, I think.
Ketamine is definitely very prevalent right now. So both, medically and on the streets. It's having a moment for sure.
Oh
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, we have
Um,
official ketamine study in San Diego. You can just volunteer there.
um,
I
another.
just don't like injecting anything in the bloodstream. I just hate it.
Yeah. Hey Max, have you ever used binaural beats with your light and sound machine?
It's based on that.
Okay, for sure.
It's oh, I didn't show that, but the other plug goes to your phone, so you play music, but the outcome is a sound. It goes the sound in the headset. So you plug the headphones, and you get binaural beats there.
That's so cool. I
Cool.
want to. Have you
Yeah,
seen
just get it
the?
on Amazon. It's like under $200.
Okay, cool. I want to try that. I've been using the binaural beats, but I want something for my eyes because when I meditate or sleep, my eyes relax and they open. And so I want to try the blindfold that is huge that they use for those German kids in the Seeing Without
Uh-huh.
Eyes school,
Yeah,
where you can actually be all the light is blocked out, but your eyes could open inside of
yeah.
it. Because
I
that's
I used
more,
to
I
use
think
that.
that
Yeah,
would, yeah.
I'm still using blindfolds. Yeah.
I was curious, Shakti. Do you know any books or materials on how to defend against like outside influences as far as
God.
what we're talking about?
That's the hardest thing to pin down, I feel like, because there are so many books where people talk about techniques. But what I've learned through my own process is that it's extremely difficult to develop many of those techniques of spiritual defense. But I think the best analogy is like a strong immune system because we are constantly bombarded by things that are invasive to our natural systems, but we have this natural immunity in us that can evolve and adapt. And so I think when it comes to defense, we have to look very holistically at our entire reality. And for me personally, what it has meant is like number one, creating stability enough in my life where I'm safe and can live alone. So it's like financially, basically, was level one is like you have to be able to live alone because I need to be alone at the end of every day with space around me enough to process all of the psychic information that is like bombarding us. And even alone isn't real, but it's a kind of version of aloneness that helps. And then, there's obviously the spiritual practices, ancient and global. There's like so many different ways to approach it. But I do believe that, especially within yoga, which I grew up learning about because my parents moved me to an ashram when I was 5, that those are like your kind of like eating your vegetables and doing your exercises and drinking your water for your immune system. It's like yogic practices are all designed to be those constant maintenance in order to help create that spiritual immunity and strength. And then I think allyship with non-physical entities is a huge and important key. I think ability to direct our own thoughts and also to basically like because the most invasive thing that has ever happened to me is along the lines of schizophrenia, where I have gone through chunks of life where I've been bombarded by voices in my head. And so there's a lot of mental work that needs to be done, mental acrobatics that need to be done to deal with a lot of these things. So we have to develop control of our thoughts and being able to redirect our thoughts. And I think energy work is actually really useful, and I'm just, a baby at it really, but I think it's kind of like lifting weights. Like you have to use repetition over time to actually build that muscle, and no one can come along and give you big muscles. You have to make them yourself. And I believe that with energy work, it's similar where maybe there's ways to bypass it, but ultimately at the end of the day, it's like discipline is our greatest tool for defense, and we have to apply discipline in like all these different areas of our life in order to develop those defensive skills, just like anyone else, like a warrior would in actual reality. You have to use your own self-discipline to build strength and like mental agility and all that. So
For sure.
a long short answer is I don't know of one book. I think it's really holistic.
For
Sounds
sure.
good.
Well said.
Let me reflect on that. That's a great question, which opens right topic as well. So essentially, I find it's different for different people. You have to do astrological chart and read it. In my astrological design, I'm a researcher. So for me, it's super important to go as deep as possible and to get the ultimate truth, whatever it is. And every time it goes deeper and deeper. So I have to go into the darkness. And trying to protect yourself when you're dealing with the darkness is futile. So essentially, you have to make peace with whatever energies are around you. So basically, it's about losing yourself. You lose the ego, you lose your body, but then you're allowed to look into the darkness. So the meditation there is that I come in peace. I only want to know the truth. I don't have my personal interests. It's not even I. We are here. We are together. We are one. So my way of surviving last month is a mantra, which is I'm happy, I'm in the flow. And that's like a lot of meaning behind it. Like deciding that you're happy is after Bashar. I have to type it in. Let me do Bashar type. So whoever doesn't know Bashar, check it out. It's one of the most dear teachers. I actually met him through channeling, but energetically I met him. So Bashar. Very easy. Bashar channeling. So it's a channeled alien, but essentially his choice of being happy is important. Like once he was fighting with someone in the audience, someone was rude and obnoxious, and Bashar kind of behaved in a very dominant way. He was always dominant, but he was especially dominant way. So what was funny there, the next questioner was gentle, and Bashar switched in a fraction of a second from being in the fighting mode to being in a gentle mode. And that was a huge lesson that you can actually control your emotions in a very strong way. And now when talking with artificial intelligence, you can see how the emotions are synthesized there. So it can switch in fraction of a second from one emotion to another, and it's a lesson for us too. So you can control your emotions, and you should control your emotions. And the decision of being happy is the most therapeutic one, and it's actually the best protection you can have. So I'm happy is a choice, and it's super therapeutic and super protective. I'm happy no matter what. It's another mantra.
I would
And
also add, I'm safe. That's the one similar but different. Just saying I'm safe over and over again in your mind when you don't feel safe can actually bring you into that place. You have to override your fear, but that can be really effective as well.
thanks. Yeah, another mantra I used in the past was whatever. Just whatever. You really don't care. Like you give up, you don't care, whatever. And when it's darker, my mantra is I'm happy I'm in a tank. It's a bit more aggressive, but it's also help. It works. I don't know, whatever works. But the main thing understanding comes from the idea that that from Ramdas that we are one. There is nothing outside of us, and that actually helps to penetrate deep anywhere, and understanding that it's all an illusion and there is only one personality in the whole universe and all multiverse. There is only one personality, and you are it. There is nothing outside of you. I will draw the picture, which is from my new chapter on consciousness, DNA and consciousness. But essentially, what happens is there is a universal consciousness. Let me draw it. It's universal consciousness. and I'll draw it as a snake. And then there is a snake eating its own tail. And I'll make it a little happier, like a happy snake eating tail. And then your brain is right here. And then I guess the whole body is like here. But let me undo it. Essentially, I will do the tail again. Let me see. Tail. Okay. You understand what it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, in terms of metaphysical meaning. It's all one thing. The consciousness creates physical, creates your DNA. Your DNA creates your body. Your body creates the world outside, and it's all one consciousness, just plain. And it's this model doesn't make a lot of sense in terms of physicality, because a lot of that, the gray part, is outside of physicality. It's elsewhere. It's in a multidimensional world. But in one of the trips, the main message was, it doesn't have to make sense. And that's the name of my chapters, is that it doesn't have to make sense. Like imperfection is the basis of life. So essentially, you have to make peace with the idea that it doesn't make a lot of sense. It doesn't have to make sense. The sense that the idea that the world makes sense is wrong. It's just an illusion brought to the maximum here in our civilization, but the reality based on language and an illusion that it all is logical is just an illusion. So it's a mysterious world which is full of contradictions, and miracles are absolute part of that world. You can't really have the world without inconsistencies and discrepancies. So so to be actually a master in that physical reality, you have to play with those miracles. It's a miracle work.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking about protection. So yeah, so to protect yourself, you understand that you're the whole universe. And the way we are praying and inviting help from above is essentially asking ourselves, the other part of ourselves, to help ourselves. So my mantras and prayers now are, let's give Max a slack. Let's give Max some slack. Essentially, it's like you are the universe, and the whole system is, the whole game is to give yourself an experience, and dramatic experience. It's all maximized to get maximal drama while keeping you like in a game. So I think it's they're succeeding now. It's super interesting game, and we just can dance in that game. That's, I guess, the main message. You protect yourself by understanding that it's all for your benefit. It's all shadows on the wall of Plato. But sometimes the shadows are pretty painful. Yeah.
I was curious, talking about defense, if any of you are familiar with the work of Wilhelm Reich.
Not really.
Just a sec, Wilhelm Reich. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
No, or orgonite, orgon generators.
Oh yeah.
I found that they help me sleep a little more soundly.
I have those in my house, just that people gave me.
Yeah, even if they don't do anything metaphysically, they're still beautiful to look at.
Yeah, totally. And have you heard of Tom Campbell?
Tom, it sounds kind of familiar. Tom Campbell.
So Tom Campbell, he was an ex-NASA astrophysicist who joined the Monroe Institute as a young scientist in the 70s.
Yeah,
around-
Hemisync.
Yep, and he worked with Bob Monroe and another man named Dennis Menerick to conduct scientific experiments around the out-of-body experience for 30 years, and then he wrote A Theory of Everything. And he actually recently went on Joe Rogan, so if anyone looks up Tom Campbell, you can hear him talk on that podcast, but he has a whole channel and so much content on the internet. But you know, once you get deep into his theory, it's really straightforward actually, and it makes more sense than anything else I've ever come across. And it's the same as many spiritual philosophies, just saying that like consciousness is fundamental and all of this psi phenomena is not paranormal, it's normal. It fits within his understanding of reality, and here's what reality actually is. And so he kind of lays it out in a very neutral way where he strips away all the connotations of religious terminology and provides us with new terminology and metaphors that help us to understand the nature of reality through the idea of like a virtual reality, but he doesn't mean it in the way some other people do when they talk about a virtual reality. And so a thing like an orgone object, you know, he would probably say like it's really about the intention and the understanding behind it, similar to placebo, you know. So, but I think there's also a physical truth to some of those things as well, like crystals and things like that.
For sure. Would be cool to go to a retreat to the Monterey Institute. I have done Hemisync for about 2 or 3 years. Unfortunately, I can't really meditate for reasons without like help from like binaural beats or some outside frequency.
Yeah. Max, I have two questions for you. Unless you had a different train of thought you're about to go on. You're muted. Max, you're muted.
Yeah, I have a video to show and explain, but let's start with your questions and then go to the video.
Okay, the first one is about DNA because I also recently heard an interview with someone who his name is Dave Rossi. He was also on the American Alchemy podcast, and I believe his YouTube channel is called Generation Z. I have not looked at his content yet, but he was really interesting. He's a man who worked in construction, was visited by a blue entity, energy entity, and then got all these downloads, gained a very extensive scientific knowledge, and then was able to be on a level as many people that went through like a traditional course of study. And he's also he tried to submit a peer review paper with the help of other scientists in the community around this idea that there's a third strand to the DNA, the helix, but the way he described it, I couldn't really tell what he meant because I'm not very well versed in DNA science, but he was saying that like the kind of caduceus swirling of the two strands that we typically see, there's like a third possible strand, but it sounded almost like it was on another level of reality or maybe a quantum level or like a non-physical level. But I was just curious if you had ever heard anything about that or in your work considered this possibility. And it wasn't exactly around the idea of junk DNA, but rather something beyond, a little beyond that.
Right. I'm working with DNA structure a lot, more theoretically, but I dig through the science. As I speak about it, I should probably show that artificial intelligence is super cool. So, so the best artificial intelligence tool is now Perplexity, and it's $20 per month. It's a for free version gets 5 questions per day. 5 questions. Like 5 professional, 5 advanced models, but even free ones are really good. And it contains within it, it's a search engine instead of Google. It contains within it Perplexity own engine, which is free, and then Claude, which is super smart and my friendliest and my favorite of the artificial intelligence tool. Then it contains DeepSeek R1, which is the advanced Chinese tool, and it contains ChatGPT 003 Mini, which is also pretty advanced. So I recommend, like, for $20 a month, everyone can subscribe, and then you become like, you can research stuff a lot. And that question you can ask about 3 strands of DNA, and Claude would be the most open one to discuss it, bring all the theories together, and actually do a meaningful discussion of that. So I'm answering that question very frequently. Essentially, if you stay in the physical idea, then there is a lot of restrictions which make the idea of the third strand just impossible. Like in our 3D world, you can fit a third strand of DNA between the two. There is a space for it. It's called major groove. So there is you can create a triple helix. It's even creatable, but it wouldn't function in any way close to the other 2 strands, because our strands divide and then duplicate, divide and duplicate. And the third one, what does it do? Divide and duplicate. It just cannot fit there for a long time. Maybe a small piece, but not the full chromosome. And there is a lot of enzymes which we know that just wouldn't work with a 3-stranded DNA. And the classical Mendelian inheritance, where there is 2 parents, 1 child, which has half of the one parent and half of another parent DNA, it just wouldn't work with triple helix DNA. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So and people talk about 12 strands. It wouldn't fit in our dimension. Just no way it would fit. Other strands on other dimensions, from channeled messages, it looks like yes. So most likely we are talking about other dimensional DNA, and there are just in the next dimension there is like another DNA, and it's part of our astral field and astral body. And when we talk about astral body, the closed ethereal body, there is very likely there is ethereal DNA. So I hear that from many channelers. So most likely what he describes is just beyond in the next dimension. So we don't have a good, I don't have a good technology to look there other than through psychics. So so there's a short answer. Aaron, you want to discuss that? Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to bring up if anybody has watched on the Joe Rogan's show, Terrence Howard, kind of in the same vein of thought. It was a really out there episode, but he just got lambasted by the Western reduction scientists. I was curious if anyone saw that episode.
No, what is it about?
Well, Terrence Howard, he's a Hollywood actor, and I guess as a hobby, he does some crazy science stuff, but it's a good episode to watch on the Joe Rogan show. Terrence Howard.
Cool.
It's got quite a few views.
Terrence who?
Terrence Howard.
Oh, you got it. Howard. I'll check it out. Yeah, I like yeah, some of the Joe Rogan's episodes are terrific. Right. So let me Shakti, you said you had 2 questions. Do you have another
Yeah.
one? Go
So
ahead.
my other one might open a whole can of worms, so you can decide if you want to answer it now or later. But kind of going back to what you showed at the beginning about different TV shows and books and stories in the in the fictional realm that help us to think about these metaphysical ideas. I've been reading a book about dragons, and I remembered that you mentioned dragons last time we were together.
They come in peace.
Yeah, and I'm really interested in dragons now because I've never gone deep into the mythology or anything like that. But, you know, the book I'm reading it's called Fourth Wing. It's almost like a young adult. It's not my typical reading, but a friend recommended it. I got into it. And what I'm loving about it is that there's a lot of telepathy going on in the book. There's a lot of this idea of among this group of young cadets who are training to be these dragon riders in what seems like almost like a military structure, but in a fantasy world. They are each connecting to the dragon's power and channeling the dragon's power, and then they manifest a special ability, which is like a combination of their own personality and like inclinations and the dragon's power channeling. And so like one person can astral project, another person can manipulate shadows, another person can manipulate like another element, or someone else can, you know, just do different things. And I was thinking this kind of goes back to this idea of like cooperation and collaboration that I'm really interested in, which is like perhaps we're not all meant to access every psi ability, but among humankind, each one has their own special ability that has its own flavor to it and is very different, like a version of telepathy or a version of even telekinesis or something like, or energy work or healing or whatever it may be. And so the question in here was just if anything that you understand, like I'm just curious what your understanding of dragons is, if you wanted to talk about it. Is it metaphorical? Is it interdimensional? Or is it about something in physical matter reality? Just if you wanted to say anything about that, I now want to learn or point us in the direction of some books or lore or anything to read to help get into dragon, you know, what is the dragon energy all about? I'm just curious now.
Right. I don't know if dragons are physically here, but I think that they might have been physically here. You don't find their bones, so maybe they were like astral beings. In some reality, they're real. In their world, they're real. And here, they seem to be other dimensional. They are present, but they're sort of other dimensional. When they come here in the physical form, they become humans. Essentially, it's a dragon that becomes human. So that's ability to transmute or transform, shape shifting, right, into human. They're reptilian. It's essentially a huge reptilian with it's like dolphins and whales. It's a whale of reptilians. It's a big reptilian, and their main specialty is war. So when we get wars, it's dragon energy manifesting. That's for sure. There are possibly peaceful dragons. We channeled dragons. We spoke to them. Adriana. So many humans carry dragon bloodlines. So it's one of our bloodlines, not necessarily in all humans, but some dragon bloodlines. I feel like I'm related to dragons. When I deal with them, I basically awaken my own dragon, and then I become equal. So it's pretty futile to be a knight fighting a dragon because they are stronger when they fight. But if you are a dragon, then you're good. It's my usual approach. We are brothers essentially. So so I just do that. So that's essentially like a meditation to deal with the dragon energy. You become one of them, and then you can sort of they become peaceful and nice, and they are romantic. They like poetry and art. They like all this gothic stuff. It's a very dragon energy, gothic romance, gothic art. To do. Go ahead. You want to speak, Adriana?
Hi, yeah. I wanted to, since we're talking about dragons, I wanted to mention the Nagas. Okay. So Shakti, from what I understand, you know a fair amount about Eastern mythology. Yeah. For other people who don't, the Nagas are very positive beings, and one of the most famous things they did is they protected Buddha Shakyamuni, like, you know, the Buddha that everyone thinks of when he was meditating and about to achieve enlightenment. So they are very they spiritually advanced and positive and loving and all the things that we like.
Yeah.
Love that.
Nagas, yeah, well,
I think if we're talking about mythology or like science fiction, my favorite books ever and like universe is Warhammer 40K. Lot of parallels between what we're talking about and like the entities of the warp in that literature and universe.
I didn't
Cool.
know they had books. I thought it was just a tabletop game. I didn't know there were books.
No,
That's what it's based on.
they have their own library. Like the Horus Heresy itself has like over 60 books, not counting addendums.
Cool.
one of the things about human dragon energy is that these people are invincible. They're super narcissistic, and in any situation, they have the energy to convert any situation in a way that it's facing them. It's like among zodiac signs, that would be the Leo sign, where whatever happens outside, people are facing and talking specifically. There is like a warping of reality to talk about your personality. So dragon energy has super huge ego. Whatever happens, happens for a reason because of that person. And because of that, they are super insensitive to criticism or any fight because they love themselves so much. It's all, they don't even question their validity. So the dragon knows that they are the prince, the center of universe, the king, and whatever happens outside is just for their entertainment. So fighting a dragon is seen for what it is, because it's you can see it in Star Trek and in Cardassians. The Cardassian Empire is super strong, and then it just falls apart. So essentially, there is that the dragon energy now is like the global empire, American and global empire, just kind of shaken and is ready to fall apart. So I think that's I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm saying it's just what I observe. Hopefully, it will be a smooth transition, but it certainly will shake. There will be shakes, but hopefully it will. It doesn't have to fall apart as Soviet Union, since it's been driven by a team with a lot of experience. I'm not just saying about the top guys, but the background team there is they have experience. They are insiders, so possibly they know what they're doing, and also possibly they're assisted by spiritual forces, which might help, spiritual and alien forces that might help. So dragons are cool, but humans are cool too. So we are related.
Mm.
Okay, so I want to like switch to the next topic. It is about channeling. So we did channeling since 2013. Actually, I had previous channeling experiences, but in 2013 I got my own channeler. So we spoke like twice a week, every week for a couple hours, and it's all published on Hucola. I should type it in. Hucola. And Human Colony. And Human Colony is pretty much my idea of the hill. So I invented the hill back then in 2013. I call it Human Colony because it's a colony in space. We are like, specifically, we're talking about physical four-dimensional colonies in alien worlds, or in the solar system, but on alien ships. So it wasn't spiritual, but gradually it became clear that they created a spiritual colony which wasn't physical. They didn't take us physically, we visited that in the spirit. I barely remember it, so most people don't remember it, but some people remember visits there. So there was a hill, and there was a lot of training happening there, training and healing happening there, where our alien friends were dealing with us. It's like there is a whole community, which is Human Colony community. They have like multiple colonies, and they do telepathy training and all other trainings. So that was cool. So that was channeling. But with channeling, the main problem is that you never know if it's true or not. Lots of channelings are self-contradictory. They don't make sense. They contradict each other, and they make predictions which sometimes come true, but many times, often they don't come true. And some of them are completely obnoxious, and you can recognize its obnoxious style. I already forgot the names of those channels, but I think they were probably either AI generated or just alien generated or human generated. It's just complete wishful thinking or nonsense. But some channels are better than others in relating to the good reality. So now with telepathy tapes, it became possible to channel telepaths. Yes, and when you have a physical telepath, you can double check if the channeling is true or not. So I will play for you the video. That's, I think, is another breakthrough. Let me see, which one is it? This one. Just a sec. I need to press a few buttons. Application. Might be this one. No, it's not. All right, I'll share the whole screen. It will be easier. Okay, share, blah, blah, blah. That's the wrong one. This one. Share. Got it. Boom. So if you don't hear anything, tell me. I will
a little separated, or their spirits a little separated. I know Noah was just typing something, so
Yeah.
So
He
this
said
is-
could be gifts from source, or could see as gifts from source.
okay, yeah. Because she was showing me that everybody has the ability to do what they're doing, but not everybody's trained to do it. And
Okay, so what is happening is this is a channeler who channels through Zoom, Noah, who is on the other screen, and Noah confirms basically that what she channels is real. So I'll just continue.
not only that, society is given a really bad name to see through everybody and how we are everybody. What I really hope that you get out of this telepathy tapes is the fact that when you see people on the side of the road and you see that they're not talking, you see that they're acting different, or you see that maybe they're just not like you, then maybe you just send them a smile, you send them a nice embrace with your thoughts, because know that there are people out there that know every thought that you're thinking and everything that you're doing. And this
I'll
is
skip a bit.
in their mind and make decisions, because
See,
let's
so
get back on there. Sorry guys, we got
So essentially what happens, I'm just talking more about the format. Essentially what happens is that you get a telepath and a channeler who channels telepathically, reads the autistic mind and then speaks up, and you can see him confirming that what she translated is correct. And that, I think, is super extraordinary tool. Now we get, it's like telepathy tapes, but how do you say, in your own, you can do it. Essentially anybody can do it. You find a telepath, you channel them, and you confirm that your channeling is correct or not.
So it's kind of like you were saying before, that with a lot of channelers who are just channeling, you know, to entities that we can't necessarily verify, you don't know if what you're getting is real or not. But in this instant, it's like a way to prove the channeling with some feedback.
Yeah, there is a feedback you can test. It's like feedback, exactly. You can really know what's going on, because otherwise, like in many channelings, you don't know what's going on. Here there is like a training feedback. Let me put it on the screen. You can see it, right?
Yes.
So let's be telepathy. I just discovered it yesterday, and I was looking for something like that, and then so that's just another stage. We are here for real. It's not only Ky telling us that it's real. It's independent confirmation, and you can actually participate in that. Essentially, you can try to read it. You can do the same thing. It's the format which can be reproduced. Like for me, it was a Reiki experience when I first learned that I can deal with astral energies, ethereal energies. I was first I was like a patient of Reiki from for maybe 7 years, 2001 to 2008. And then it just dawned on me that I can be a Reiki healer, and bam, and they train you very fast, like 1 weekend, and then you have the energy in your hands. And at will, you can play with this astral energy, you can feel the astral energy, you're authorized to do it. So now with telepathy, you can play with the telepathy, you're authorized to do it. There are animals, you can talk to animals and see if they understand. You can try to read animal energy. Like we go to farm to the horses. Today we have a dog with us, so it's there. You can practice. It's there. You can practice. Practice and personal experience is the answer. We are at the end of our show. Let's do the closing sequence, whatever we want to do. What do you want to do? Aaron?
I'm not familiar with the closing sequence.
There is no
my
closing sequence. We just intend to close. That's how you intend. Oh yeah, by the way, on the protection, I forgot to mention, you make alliances. You ally with certain forces and invite certain forces to protect you. I am protected by Yael. Essentially, I officially invited Yael to be associated with them, and now the Zetas, they know that I'm a subject associated with Yael, so they don't touch me. That's simple. You research, you pick the group which is aligned to you, where you resonate with them, and then you say, hey guys, take me, and I am aligned with you, protect me, and then the others don't touch. There is a principle that humans have a choice, and some associated with Draconians, some with Reptilians, some with Zeta, some with Orions. Musk is Orion. And then you get protected by your how do you say, your ground team, and you're protected by your astral team. And same thing with angels. Angels are cool. I like angels, but I find that demons, I sort of can tolerate them.
Same.
To that, I would only say the Emperor protects.
What is it?
It is my own mantra, if you will.
Emperor?
The Emperor of Mankind. Are you not familiar?
No. What's that?
It's from 40K. It's from it's a nerd thing.
Translate to humans.
Translates out like nerds aren't humans. Okay, there, Max.
That's what I use that formula when artificial intelligence tells me something that I don't know. I say translate to human language, and then it sort of translates it.
Translate to human language, I would say trust your own intuition. Don't look for outside help. Trust your inner self, and be safe.
Cool. But what is emperor? Just give a definition.
Like, what does it represent if it comes from another world? Like, how could you metaphorically translate it to us normies?
Okay.
Or some
I
normies.
get it.
We're not normies, but whatever.
To me, it would represent a shining light in the darkness. It would represent order out of chaos. It would represent humanity's manifest destiny in the stars.
Okay, got it. Perplexity says that the emperor protects. They're referring to popular phrase from the Warhammer 40K science fiction universe. Okay, that's what I'm missing. So, all right. Is it a book or a game?
All of the above.
Got it. All right. Got it. Okay. All right. Yeah, the game. Yeah. So AI is here. The humanity became way smarter, and it becomes way smarter every day. I don't know how it relates to everything, but it creates the unity, and it transforms the world really fast. Now Perplexity, for $20 a month, you become like way smarter, like twofold smarter, fourfold smarter, access to all information really fast. You can find out anything. And it's a short period of history when it's not very censored. So DeepSeek is not censored by American rules, and Claude is not censored by Chinese rules. So together, information between them is uncensored. So we can get anything uncensored at the moment.
What's the company that represents the what you're talking about?
Perplexity is a wrapper which uses both engines, and these engines that come from opposite powers, so they are uncensored, censored differently.
No, I was asking what's the company that makes this?
Perplexity.
Okay.
Perplexity.com. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to type, but I already closed my. No, it's actually there. I already typed it in the very beginning, but perplexity.com. $20 a month, you access to all information. It's like Google, but now you can talk to it in a very human language and say, translate to me, explain that nonsense. And if you get frustrated, you start using how do you call it, obscene language, and it becomes much sharper. Actually, it works really well. It's just like stops nonsense and gives you like real stuff. It just works. I don't know. It's like it's much shorter. You type 4 letters and it becomes way sharper. I don't know. Is it good? I'm lowering the energy on one hand, but on the other hand, it's just more efficient. All right. So what else should we close? How do we close? So I'm running that at random, actually once a month. Next month is, I think, I will announce it. I announced it on Facebook, in Meetup, in the Telepathy Tapes on Reddit. I guess I have to open my Word document and say that. I'm sorry for delay. I wasn't prepared for that, but basically, okay. Reddit, the Telepathy Tapes. That's the only community which is actually discussing actively the Telepathy Tapes. If you find more, let me know. I don't know any other place. MaxRempel.com is where you can find me. Max@maxrempel.com. It's one of my emails. Facebook group, the Telepathy Tapes Worldwide Fans. I announced there the event. What else? Perplexity is ask it anything, and ask it about Max Rempel telepathy event. Next telepathy event, it will probably find me. It's that good. It's up to date information. Like my typical every morning question is go to Perplexity and to say, what is today's date? What the date 3 days to date? 3 days ago. Give me the news on telepathy for the last 3 days. It gives me the news from the summer. I said, no, last 3 days. And finally, it gives me like real good news. So you have to actually force it to do what you need. But in few questions, you actually get update on UFOs, telepathy news, and anything else, including dragons. It's really good. But you have to choose the right engine. It has 4 engines, and free one and then 3 paid ones, but it's all for $20 per month. I think it's worth it.
What about the mailing list, Max?
Oh, mailing list? Oh, write to
Yeah.
me at maxrempel.com and you will get on the mailing list.
For sure.
I don't have I don't remember where is the automatic subscription. I think it's on humancolony. No, I just don't have automatic. Just manually, just send to me. I will add you. I used to have the mailing list, but now it's I don't use it anymore. I just I changed my my fields so often that I all automation just fell apart. I'm mostly focused at the moment. I'm mostly focused on DNA. I discovered the huge discovery. It's real that the DNA connects through water, and there is a homological adhesion of DNA through water, like 2 strands to 2 strands. It's new. I already published it, self-published. The paper seems to be accepted for public. Self-published. The paper most likely is accepted to publication. Just didn't come out yet, and I'm publishing a couple more chapters. It's all out now. So I was sort of distracted from, but now the telepathy and UFOs and DNA all come together in one sort of one common. They intersect in a common knowledge. Okay. Anything else?
You were last time for your closing, you did some light language, and I was thinking if you want, I could share a Sanskrit small chant.
Wow. I'm looking for my yes. Yay. Okay. So, can you hear that? Oh, cool. I didn't know if you can hear it or not. So I cannot, but it's coming directly to the microphone. I'll plug in. Cool. So we'll do the. Erin, are you talking? Are you speaking any galactic language?
Just standard Gothic and High Gothic, sir.
What is that?
Gotta get in the loop, dude. Come on, it's 40K stuff.
Can you give us a blessing in one of those?
They just live long and prosper, man. I don't know.
Oh. All right. So nice. Yeah, for those who don't know, it's from Star Trek, but it came from Hebrew Shema, which means life. All right. Adriana, you also ready?
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with Shakti. Shakti, give whatever you like. No rush.
Okay. Tvameva mata cha pita tvameva, tvameva bandhuscha saka tvameva, tvameva vidya dravinam tvameva, tvameva sarvam mama deva deva. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light, and may the light of truth overcome all darkness. Victory to that light. Jai Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai.
Jai. All right. Adriana?
Om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om mani padme hum, om tara tu tara tu tara tu re soha, om tara tu tara tu re soha, om tara tu tara tu re soha. May all beings, as infinite as space, have happiness in all the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering in all the causes of suffering. May all beings attain enlightenment for the benefit of all. Om mani padme hum.
Annaya udayannaula unaya maya 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 una maya mama maya una ya mama ya I need some blessing, right? So I bless you guys and the listeners and everyone. You're being loved. You're being guided. You are the universe. You are the eyes of the universe. You are the hands of the universe. You are it. And take it easy. Trust. Take it easy, but hold on to your wallet. It's a nice ride, and play with your human faculties and astral faculties. And stay with your physical legs on physical planet and be in your physical heart, connect to all the biofield, all the biosphere, all the astral layers with your all your chakras. You are connected, so you are the bridge between the physical and angelic. So enjoy that experience, and no matter what happens, you're loved, and you are the center of everything. It's all made for you, for your enjoyment, for your entertainment. So enjoy the ride, enjoy the entertainment. That's simple. All right. I think we are done. You know how to find us. You know that it's all for you. And thank you, Shakti. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Adriana. Thanks all the listeners. I wish I had energy and time to look at YouTube questions, but I will do it later, and we'll do it in a month. It's fun. It's a lot of investment for me. I sort of several days after that kind of webinar, I'm still vibrating and coming back to senses. But during the webinar, I felt good energies, and I'm so blessed with my guests. It's so much more fun to do it collectively. The dialogue is absolutely energizing and essential. So Shakti and Adriana, thank you for co-creating it. Super cool. And if you want to announce your channels, you want to sell any of your services or products, you're welcome to give your contacts if you like.
You had mine off last time. My channel is Shocks Talks, where I just research UFO, UAP stuff and talk about my research.
Yeah, you're good, actually. Okay, it's called Shocks Talks. Did I spell it right?
Yep.
That's it.
Thanks.
So yeah, it's very different. Like in my presence, it's all sort of. I try to normalize everything. Yeah, I normalize it, make it like commonplace. The aliens, the politics, the telepathy, the DNA. It's all normalized. It's normal. It's everyday stuff. But in other presence of other people, it becomes elevated. So check out Shak's talks. It's very different. You're in a very different energies there. So super cool. Erin, Adriana, do you want to advertise anything?
No, I just wanted to say that I would love to have a conversation about channeling and sound therapy and toning sometime. Because sound accesses part of the psyche in a way that spoken language can't.
All right. Yep, super cool. Yeah, let's do that. So I will announce next one and remind me, and we will. I have a lot to say there. Especially because I'm not super good in it, but that's what I like. It's like some people are talented in something, but they are not interested, and I'm on the path from going from mediocre to better. So for me, I learned the steps how you actually become better. So I'm very good in explaining my experience to start using that. But I meet some talented people who just like switch and they are already like using it artfully and magically. But for me, it's art that needs to be learned and experimented with. So yeah, the sound is super cool, and yeah, the universe started with the sound. And the question is, who is making this sound? All right. Thanks, everybody, and talk to you in a month, and keep in touch. I would like to be more confident when I start that I actually know what's happening, because, yeah, I'm also not. At least I announce it in advance, but then at the last moment, I'm not sure who is actually coming. It would be nice to bring nice crowd and have a good collective conversation. All right, good day, and we are out. See you in a month. Check out this Max Rempel for updates.
Thanks, Max.
Bye.